starting earlier this morning. At about 11:10, Peoria PD received a call of a vehicle that had been shot by another vehicle, the occupants of another vehicle at about 11:10 in the area of 103rd and Northern. From there on, what we've realized is that same suspect vehicle, which has been identified as a white SUV, was involved in at least 8 other incidents at this time. So that's 8 separate incidents. That doesn't talk about the people involved. So, and remember, all this information we're giving you right now is preliminary. This is an extremely complex investigation because it involves multiple jurisdictions, and so we'll be updating that as it goes on and as we get more information. The information we have right now is we have a total of 13 victims total. 13 victims, not all of them are gunshot wound victims. Right now we have 4 that are gunshot wound victims. The others have different types of injuries, whether it be shrapnel, different things, whether car crash. I don't have those exact specifics, but we have a total of 13 people who are injured, 4 people who were shot. And then we do recently, prior to us, or right as we were sending out this notice about this, we responded to another call of a vehicle on the freeway. And sadly, we are reporting 1 fatality in that. So on the Loop 101 at Thunderbird, there was a vehicle with a subject in that vehicle with a gunshot wound. Right now, like I said, it's a very complex and ongoing investigation. We're working closely with the Surprise Police Department. I'm here with Sergeant Tommy Hale from the Surprise Police Department as well. Also the Glendale Police Department, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Department of Public Safety, and also the FBI in Arizona here. Also, I want to note that our fire agencies from the West Valley, obviously were extremely busy doing all this. They were extremely busy tending to all these injuries, transporting people. They did a phenomenal job doing everything they could. Also, the Surprise Police Department did a fantastic job working on tracking down this vehicle and getting the suspect in custody. The suspect was taken into custody at approximately 12:42 hours in the area of 147th and Grand, and Sergeant Hale can provide more information here in a minute on that if you guys have questions. All we can release about the suspect at this time is it's an adult male, and like I said, he's been in custody. There were no issues with that. As far as any other information, if anybody out there has any information or somebody hasn't come home or somebody's missing, we want you to call the Peoria Police Department or Silent Witness at 480-WITNESS. We want more information on this so we can figure out exactly what happened. This is at the beginning stages of this investigation, as you can imagine. Like I said, with multiple agencies involved, and this person going on this spree throughout the West Valley this morning in a period of literally an hour and a half, that is a lot for us to investigate. So we have teams going everywhere. Obviously, you guys know it's hot out, that's why we're in here. But we ask the citizens to stay away from those areas that they're doing the investigations, but if they have information, to give us a call. For now, we will be sending out an update later tonight with more information in a written form for you guys to have as well. But for now, that's the information we have. So just to recap real quick on our end, we are taking the lead as far as all communication goes. So any follow-up questions will come to us. We'll address that with our partners, whether it be Surprise, MCSO, Glendale, or FBI, and get you those answers. And again, Silent Witness for any tips or information. We have a total of 8 incidents as of now. That number could obviously grow. 13 victims, 4 were shot, 1 was fatal. All right, any questions at all at this time?
Do you have any information on the type of gun that was being used, and do you have any reason to believe right now, or was this simply driving up to other cars and just opening fire?
So what we know now is, or what we understand is that most of them are that. So what you consider drive-by, or well, he's driving a vehicle, whatnot. So that's still under investigation. Things are being looked at. But as far, a weapon was recovered at the scene in the suspect's vehicle.
Any history on the shooter?
We don't have any of that information yet.
Did you say the shooter was arrested without incident?
Yeah, I'll let Sergeant Hale talk about that. That happened in Surprise, so I'll let him speak to that.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Sergeant Tommy Hale, H-A-L-E, Surprise Police Department. And to your question, what I can tell you about the traffic stop is that it was executed by Surprise PD. When the vehicle stopped, the suspect's vehicle stopped with it, and the driver, the only occupant of the vehicle and the suspect, he was compliant as the officers gave him commands, and he was removed from the vehicle and taken into custody.
Any reason to believe that there's another shooter out there, or you're confident there's one suspect?
Yeah, we have no information at all that to allude to any other type of shooter. What I can tell you is that the suspect that was seen, the vehicle that was seen, he's been taken into custody, and there's no reason for the public to feel unsafe at this time.
What was the reason for the stop? That he was driving the car that matched, or was there another reason?
That's correct, yeah. The vehicle was identified.
So you mentioned it started at 103rd Avenue in Northern, correct? Give me an indication of where these 4 people were shot. Was it all the same scene, or was it 4 different scenes? Tell me about that.
So that's where it's a little confusing, I understand that. So there are 8 separate scenes, incidents. So 8 different scenes all over the place, whether it be.
Gunshots fired at each one of those?
Yes.
Okay.
Each gunshot's fired at each one of those. But from those 8 scenes, we have a total of 13 victims, okay? So then we've got those people that were shot and those people that were, bullet breaks a window, the glass goes in them, they might have some cuts and scrapes. The one thing I do want to make sure we put out is the reason why this guy was taken into custody so quick is the great teamwork amongst agencies, interoperability, the ability for us to share information with our neighboring partners and to be able to get that information out. Obviously, everybody worked together because if you can imagine, Peoria alone had 3 right away, one after another. So our resources were tied up right then and there. Get that information out to Surprise, Glendale, MCSO, DPS, and everybody worked together to bring this guy into custody.
Do we know if the victims were all adults or any minors involved?
I believe they're all adults, but again, we're still getting people to the hospitals, getting people to talk to everybody involved.
So 4 gunshot victims total. One of those 4 passed away.
Correct.
And then the other 3, I know.
Non-life-threatening injuries.
Non-life-threatening.
Yes, they're all expected to recover from those injuries. Everybody who was injured, other than the one, is expected to recover.
And just to clarify, this suspect never got out of his car during any of these shootings?
I'm not sure. We're still piecing it together. There's 8 different scenes that we have to investigate. That's a lot. I mean, 1's a lot, 8 is a lot.
Were all the victims in vehicles at the time, or were any walking on the sidewalk?
I believe there's a couple that were in vehicles and a couple walking, but again, that'll all be sorted out. What we hope to do later on is be able to give you a breakdown more of the locations of those. That way you guys can have all that information as well.
I believe on the Fado, you said that call came in as kind of later.
So, yeah, we responded to that to go check on it. A car was kind of off the roadway, and they found a subject in there that had a gunshot wound and who was deceased. So again, we're even piecing that part together to ensure that it's related. I mean, obviously, we're assuming it is, but.
What do we know about the motive of the shooter, and if it's not known yet, what's the process of finding that out?
So again, right now, it's quite the process. We have all the agencies that are part of this in the room upstairs, actually. They're kind of figuring out who's going to take what pieces, who's going to do what. As far as interviews and go, I mean, again, we're at the very beginning stages of all of this, and we're trying to piece it together. It's going to be a while. But like I said, we do have the suspect in custody, and so at least we can now kind of slow the process down to be a little more methodical and thorough on it.
We know that initial scene, 103rd and Northern, there's a casino nearby. Is there any indication that it started at a business or at a location that could have been the nexus for this, or he was in his car when he started shooting indiscriminately?
Yeah, again, I mean, so we're on the other side of the Loop 101. The casino's on the east side. This was on the west side, quite a ways down. But the first one actually technically was in Glendale. Peoria's taking it because it's on the border, and we were there first for quite a while. So we ended up taking that one. We don't know the nexus. We don't know what the motive was. We don't have an idea of what this person was thinking when he went out and did this. Obviously, we want to figure that out because there's a lot of scared people and a lot of people who this affected.
How many people do you think are out there? I mean, I imagine there were a lot of cars who, witnessed somebody shooting, So what do you expect in the coming hours after this press conference in terms of, what you expect to get from people who witness stuff?
Yeah, so actually that's a great question. We asked Silent Witness. They're going to add additional resources there so people can call in there. They're going to help us to get that information. Plus, you can call here, our Peoria Dispatch, to get that information. We're going to be taking all that in. Witnesses, we want to know if you were there, if you saw anything at all. You might not think it's something relevant, but call us anyways. And that number is 623-773-8311. And call us, or like I said, Silent Witness. Even if you think it's not relevant, give us a call so we can have that. And we're going to be sorting through those all night and over the next coming days.
This guy talking, flamed up, ordered up?
I have not been given any information. I don't even know if we've gotten to that point yet. So I don't even know where he is at this point.
Sergeant Haley, you found a gun, any amount of ammo recovered as well? And can you say pistol, rifle, Any details there?
Well, thank you. That's a good question. Not at this time, no. I don't have that information as to what type of weapon it was. I do know one was recovered in the vehicle.
Why is the FBI involved?
So anything this scale, we coordinate with our local, state, and federal partners because there could be a number of things that could be, come up. So they're part of the process. They're not necessarily involved like they're doing the investigation or anything. But again, we have a good working relationship with our partners. So we want to make sure that they're involved in this. Obviously, this spread throughout the West Valley, and we wanted them to be involved as well.
Is there any, indication given the nature of this crime that it could be classified or categorized as terrorism?
Again, we are at the very beginning stages of the investigation. Obviously, once we have more information, all that kind of stuff can be released and given out.
So this is not the typical road rage?
No, I guess, again, I can't say what the motive is, but we don't normally see road rage when this much happens.
Is there any message you give to the deceased family or loved ones?
Yeah, obviously, our thoughts go with them. Our officers out there too, let's be honest. Their officers and firefighters have had to deal with this all day. It's hard on them, but obviously there's families in our communities pretty traumatized by all this as well. So, I want them to know and understand that we're still out there. We brought in extra officers. I'm sure other agencies did as well to cover the road so we can still respond to other calls as well. But yeah, this is trying for everybody, and this doesn't normally happen. And obviously, that's why we're here today.
Just saw a litany of detectives, it looks like, walk out of the building. When you have shell casings on interstates and you're working kind of that intersection of wanting to get them back open versus, having such potentially evidence scattered all over, how difficult is it going to be to collect all this evidence in a timely manner?
Well, and that's the other part of using, community members who might have seen something. They might be able to direct us something that makes it quicker. I believe they're shutting down part of the freeway to be able to look for some evidence. And I know it's not the best option for a lot of people when we're driving, but understand that we want to make sure we do the best investigation we can for that person's family, just as we would want for ours. Make sure that we can do the most thorough job investigating, collecting evidence, and getting all that.
Can I ask one more question? We saw his vehicle. I don't know, you guys probably haven't been out there, but did he have the window down the whole time shooting through it, or was he shooting through his car? In what capacity was he getting these rounds out?
And again, that's all going to be stuff that we're going to have to figure out as the investigation goes on. Like I said, 8 separate scenes where we have to figure out exactly what they did to that person. So at those different incidents, but it's all going to be part of the investigation again.
Is there a message that you would like to give the community to make them feel more at ease? That there is no...
Yeah, I know you guys already asked about if we believe there's anyone else out there involved. We do not. Again, there was a very good description given of the person, the vehicle, the license plate, and whatnot. So that helped us be able to track that person down. We don't believe there's anyone else involved. A weapon was recovered. Surprise PD did a great job locating this vehicle and getting this guy into custody to stop any more damage that he could do in the community.
My final question is, what car was he driving? And lastly, was he going the speed limit, cruising? There wasn't any indication there was a chase or he was running red lights. He just seemed to be going at normal speed when you guys pulled him over.
Thank you. So it's actually a great story behind that. The information about the vehicle was broadcasted throughout multiple different agencies, multiple jurisdictions. And our fire department, the Surprise Fire Department, actually got some of that information. They were actually out and were able to spot the vehicle and relay that information to our units who were in the area. So they were able to get him into custody very quickly. There was no pursuit. He complied completely with our officers and was taken into custody safely.
Do we know if that vehicle was registered to the shooter? Was it a rental car or stolen, anything like that?
I have no information on if it was stolen, just what the vehicle was and what we were looking for.
You said surprise fire was part of the vehicle?
That's correct.
Okay. And just to be clear, no gunfire at all with officers at all?
No.
So is that strange to you? You're saying he just went on a shooting spree.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily strange, but he did, I'm not going to speculate on what was going through his mind, what he decided to do. I'm happy, and I think we're all excited the fact that he gave up. He didn't continue to try and fire shots at anyone and was compliant with our officers.
Where did that vehicle stop?
Approximately 147th Avenue in Grand. He had pulled into a small complex there, and that's where officers were able to safely take him into custody.
Can you say anything about the 4 victims who were shot? I know it sounds like a couple were adult males. Do we know about the other 2, the deceased?
Yeah, obviously, we don't have that information at all, nor would we provide it until everybody's been able to notify their next kin or family. But, you know, again, eventually, we'll get you guys information as soon as we can, as we piece it together.
Just to clarify, somebody called you about the car over on the 101, and that's where you found the deceased victim there? Somebody called you and said, hey, we see a car pulled over?
Correct.
Okay.
So we responded to a call for
Sorry.
service.
Who provided the description of the suspect?
I believe just the person who called in at the first one gave a good description with the information, the license plate and whatnot. So
So
that's,
what happens now? He's at Surprise PD. When will he be taking to 4th Ave, and how many of you guys are going to get a crack at him before? You know what I mean? To talk to him before he gets taken and booked in MCSA.
so my understanding is Peoria detectives are taking the lead on this investigation because of the amount and that happened here in our city. So I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with it. I don't even, like I said, I don't know where he is at this point. I don't know if he's here, Surprise, wherever. But that is up to the detectives, and you know, it's not. What we try to do is keep this investigation, package it together. Everyone's going to work together, and then it gets packaged together. That way, it's not multiple investigations from all over.
Do you know the condition of the 3 other victims that were trapped?
The only thing we know is that they're expected to recover, so non-life threatening, nothing serious. My understanding is I think some of them already are going to be released or have been released.
What charges is this guy looking at?
I have no idea at this point. We have to sort through all those, but probably a litany of charges.
Is there any type of assistance you guys will offer to the people who suffered the non-life-threatening injuries after this is over with?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a victims assistance program here at the Peoria Police Department. Surprise does as well, like most agencies, and we'll offer all those services to everybody involved. But we also offer those. We also offer those services to our employees as well, which is important. You know, you guys cover this stuff all the time. It can be taxing on employees as well.
You mentioned 13 victims total. Did you say shrapnel injuries, car crashes? Can you give us the kind of the gamut?
Just there's several different types of injuries. I don't have the exact. You know, we have this many people shrapnel or this many people from bumping themselves because the car hit something. I don't have that information.
How many 911 calls did you get on this? I imagine the panic when this many people being shot at, it overwhelmed dispatch.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we got a lot of calls, a lot of good witnesses. You know, we work and serve in the West Valley, a lot of great communities that are willing to help us. A lot of people like to give us that information, and we're very grateful for that. But yeah, our dispatchers obviously did an amazing job as well to get that information out. They're the ones that shared that information with our local agencies, Surprise. And then we also, that's something I think agencies are doing more recently now, is sharing that kind of information with the fire departments, our sanitation departments, all those things, because more eyes on the road, you can obviously spot those vehicles. Anyone else? All right, we will provide an update probably later this evening through email, and then probably another one tomorrow. So thank you guys very much, and we appreciate it.
Take my cheesy notes.
Can I just clarify one thing?
No, you had your chance. Except for Zach.
Yeah.